The press has become so dishonest that if we don't talk about it, we are doing a tremendous disservice to the American people. The press, honestly, is out of control. The level of dishonesty is out of control. The press should be ashamed of themselves. I'm not okay when it is fake. I mean, I watch CNN. It's so much anger and hatred and just the hatred. I don't watch it anymore because it's very good. He's saying, no, it's okay, Jim. It's okay, Jim, you'll have your chance. I mean, you have a lower approval rate than Congress. I won with news conference and probably speeches. I certainly didn't win by people listening to you people, that's for sure. I'm having a good time. Tomorrow they will say, Donald Trump rants and raves at the press. I'm not ranting and raving. I'm just telling you, you're dishonest people. I want to see an honest press. When I started off today by saying that it's so important to the public to get an honest press. The public doesn't believe you people anymore.
As I listen to that, I think back to how the media was stunned that Donald Trump campaigned as Donald Trump. And now they're surprised he's, yes, governing as Donald Trump. That take-no-prisoners attitude worked well on the trail, but how will it play from the Oval Office? Howie Kurtz, host of MediaBuzz here on Fox. Joe Concha reports on the media for The Hill. They both join us live. Good to see you both. Howie, I also thought, love him or hate him, this was 110% pure and unadulterated Donald Trump.
I've known this guy for decades. It was quintessential Donald Trump. It was entertaining. It was riveting. It was over the top. It was passionate. It was defensive at times. And, the media consistently underestimating not getting Trump in the campaign, in the transition, and even now covering him as president. This is who he is. He has come to despise the media. What we saw here is sort of a couple of years of frustration all spilling out this news conference. At the same time, he craves the media's approval, especially the
Was it Nixonian, though? Did it go too far?
It wasn't Nixonian at all because Trump was in control. I mean, people said unhinged. That's crazy. He knows exactly what he's doing. He knows how to whack the media. He knows how to rile up his supporters when he does that. At the same time, he then goes and he tries to discredit legitimate reporting. For example, the Washington Post, leaks aside, was right about Michael Flynn, and that's why the National Security Advisor got fired.
Joe, I wonder, lost in all this yesterday, the front row of mainstream reporters, at least some of them, had their pacifiers out and were practically crying about how Donald Trump only calls on conservative leading organizations. Why won't he call on me? 24 hours later, he's basically, you want to come at me, bro?
Yeah, Jim Acosta from CNN said the fix is in yesterday. Jim Acosta got a lot of questions today. This press conference, Ed, went on for nearly 77 minutes. Everybody got a question. And what's the most popular strategy in Washington that we've seen since the beginning of time? It's attacking an unpopular institution. And right now, among Republicans, 9-1, according to Gallup, they don't trust the media. Okay, Republicans, that's something we should expect. How about independents? 70% of independents don't trust the media right now. So when Trump goes after the media, and WikiLeaks, I cannot emphasize this enough, devastated the media before the election in terms of senior members from publications and outlets colluding with the Clinton campaign. That hurt them more than they know. For Trump to go after him, there really is no downside.
Howie, hatred? Does the president have a point that when you watch certain channels, hatred comes to mind?
He used that word with me in a couple of campaign interviews. It somehow still was a little jarring to hear him say hatred and venom as President of the United States. Now, I don't think that most journalists hate him. I do think there is a built-in opposition to the way he's conducting this presidency. There's also a natural pushback against the way he goes at the media. That's his right as president to do it. Maybe he spends too much time on it. That's debatable. But it does seem to me, Ed, that the press doesn't quite know what to do. But after Flynn resigned, there was a sense of vindication, even jubilation in some newsrooms. We finally got a story to stick. We finally got a scalp. Well, that's not our role. It is our role to aggressively cover this president, just like every other president. But when he accuses reporters of acting out of a deep visceral dislike, that resonates with his supporters who do not trust the media.
Joe, what about the fact that you hear the president say in that last clip, I don't even watch him anymore. I don't watch him anymore. And then he goes, you know what they said last night? I mean, isn't part of this, though, even if he's right about the hatred, move on. Turn off the channel, just watch Fox, first of all, or just turn off the TV. Stop watching it and focus on being president.
Yeah, I agree, Ed. He's doing something that a lot of people do out there. It's called hate watching. And sometimes he can't resist to hear what's going on about him. But the hatred part, I have to say, I looked on Twitter afterwards, and Ana Navarro, who is a Republican strategist and is featured on CNN often in terms of her political analysis. Here's what she had to say afterwards about the press conference. She says, this presser is Trump's usual whining, moaning, bitching, discombobulated venting session. Now, that is not an analysis anymore. That is personal, just like Jake Tapper, and he's one of the best they have over here. I know he's an old friend of yours. He was up on a pious soapbox after that press conference, and he said, President Trump, you legitimately won. Now get back to work and stop whining about it. Reporters don't say that. They also don't say a president of the United States is unhinged. So when he says that there is hatred and there is anger over at that particular network, I just gave you two examples where this is no longer reporting. It's personal.
Well, I think we have these photos where we saw Kellyanne Conway and Sean Spicer today. We don't know the precise moment, but they were laughing uproariously. Free country. You can laugh all you want. But Howie, our staffers, aren't they supposed to be sort of reining in a president, Democrat or Republican, not encouraging it?
Ed, you don't rein in this president. And the people who tried are no longer working for Donald Trump. But look, I think that Trump has tapped into something here, and it helps him to go on offense. It energizes him. It makes him feel better. But at the same time, should he be spending a couple of minutes going after CNN anchor Don Lemon, not by name, but everybody knew who he was talking about? That seems to me to be punching down just a little bit. I think the best way for this president to get good press grudgingly is to start pushing through elements of his legislative agenda. I don't know if beating up on the press helps that. And I do think with some of the comments that Joe referenced, the press is falling into a trap of seeming to be anti-Trump. That just feeds what he is
saying. If all else fails, he can report his own stories. He said himself. I'd be a pretty good reporter. Howie Kurtz, Joe Concha, thanks for coming in.
Thank you.